Welcome to day 3 of our GLP-1 and menopause mini-series. Today we're going to talk about how to eat well on the GLP-1s during menopause without wrecking your energy or your muscles. So when I was younger, like teens and 20s, I could basically eat anything, right? Like fast food, 3 meals a day, fine. Gas station food for dinner, no problem. Random food court gyros, honestly, delicious. But now, almost in my 40s, none of that flies anymore. I have to be really mindful of caffeine too, because it can make me nauseous. I can't eat too close to bedtime without messing up my sleep. And I've developed some food sensitivities that absolutely did not exist before. And I'm willing to bet this will keep evolving as I move through my 40s, 50s, and beyond. And this is normal, okay? Midlife is a phase where women's nutrition needs to change. Not because something is wrong, but because the body is different now. And when you layer in GLP-1 medications on top of menopause, nutrition becomes even more important and even a little complex. So, why nutrition matters more on GLP-1s. So if you're taking or considering a GLP-1 medication, one of the biggest things to understand is that these medications often dramatically reduce your appetite. Many women end up eating 16 to 39% fewer calories a day without even realizing it. On one hand, eating less can support fat loss if that's the goal, but there is a tipping point. Too little fuel can lead to fatigue, low energy, poor recovery, sleep disruption, muscle loss, and actually worsening our menopause symptoms. And this is where I see a lot of women struggle, not because the medication isn't working, but because their body isn't being supported while it's working. And this is a huge part of what I help my clients navigate. So I want to go over the biggest nutrition pitfalls that I see and how we can address them. So number one is not eating enough overall. So one of the most common things I see is women unintentionally undereating. When appetite drops, meals get skipped, protein gets pushed aside, fueling workouts becomes inconsistent, and the body doesn't respond well to this long term, especially during menopause. So in my coaching, we don't just chase the lowest calorie intake possible. Instead, we focus on making sure we're eating enough to protect energy and metabolism, support training and recovery, avoiding the burn bright, crash hard cycle. And weight loss should not come at the expense of how you feel, okay? Number 2 is digestive discomfort. So GLP-1 medications, they slow down the digestion. This is part of how they work. But menopause already affects digestion too. As we age, gut motility slows down, digestive tissues, they lose their elasticity. Your enzyme production decreases, and hormonal shifts, especially in progesterone particularly, can contribute to constipation and bloating. And so when these two things stack, women tend to experience nausea, bloating, feeling overly full after small meals, constipation, or diarrhea. And this doesn't mean the GLP-1s aren't an option, but it does mean the nutrition strategy needs to be looked at more closely. And so in my program, we adjust meal timing, portion sizes, food texture even, fiber intake, and hydration, all to support the digestion without fighting it. The third pitfall that I see a lot are the nutrient gaps. So when food intake drops, again, nutrient intake often drops with it. And menopause is already a time when nutrients like protein, calcium, magnesium, iron, vitamin D, and B vitamins, they become even more important. So on top of that, nausea and digestive upset can reduce that nutrient absorption. And so this is why I help my clients focus on nutrient density, not just eating less. Not every bite has to be perfect, but it does need to be intentional. Number 4 pitfall is muscle and bone loss from underfueling. So this is one of the most important parts of this entire series, okay? Anytime weight loss or anytime weight is lost, muscle is lost. And women already lose muscle and bone during menopause due to the hormonal changes we're going through anyway. And on GLP-1, studies are suggesting that there's about 15 to 20% of weight loss that can come from muscle if it's not actively protected. And nutrition plays a huge role here, especially protein intake. Okay. So this is where my approach stands out. I don't just tell women eat more protein and send them on their way. That doesn't work. I help them to figure out what a realistic protein target for their body and activity level actually looks like. And then we build protein in ways that are actually tolerable when appetite is low. We work it up gradually instead of forcing in huge jumps where we feel like we got protein coming out the ears. And we use strategies that feel really doable and not overwhelming. So for many women, it looks like protein shakes with fruit and fiber, blending protein into soups, sauces, or smoothies, even using higher protein versions of familiar foods, and focusing on consistency over perfection, because protein isn't just about weight, okay? It's about strength, bone health, metabolism, and independence as we age, okay? And fiber matters, okay? But timing and amount also matter. So I help clients to increase their fiber gradually, how to choose fiber sources that won't worsen the bloating, and pair fiber with adequate fluids so digestion doesn't stall out. And hydration is another big one. GLP-1 medications can blunt that thirst signal, and menopause can change our fluid balance. So dehydration can worsen fatigue, digestion, and constipation. So we build hydration habits very intentionally without forcing extreme electrolyte use or overdoing supplements. Everything is individualized, everything is coordinated with medical guidance, and nothing is guesswork. So here's the bottom line. GLP-1 medications can be a really helpful tool, but they work best when our nutrition is intentionally supported. And this is why my coaching exists, okay? I help women to stay nourished while their appetite is low. We protect the muscle and the bone, we support the digestion, we maintain our energy, and we build habits that actually last beyond medication use. And because this phase of life isn't about shrinking at all costs, it's about feeling strong and capable and supported. So tomorrow we're shifting into movement and exercise. We're going to talk about why strength training is critical on GLP-1s, how to adjust workouts when energy is low, and how to protect muscle and bone without overtraining. I'll see you in day 4.